In the name of Almighty Allah, the most merciful and the most beneficent. Assalamu alaikum to all the students. I am your instructor Noshaba Faraz from University of Education Attic campus for the course titled Applied Linguistics. The topic of our presentation is Introduction to Syllabus Design. And what is the need to design the syllabus? There are a few things that I want to share with you at the start of the presentation. Actually, the planning of the courses, including designing curriculum and syllabus, they are often ignored in English language teaching and teacher training as well. As Harmer states that decisions about course content are very often not taken by teachers but by some higher authorities. And even it happens that many institutions present the syllabus in terms of the main textbook to be used by a certain date. Teachers are expected to have covered a certain number of units in the book. And at the same time, teachers are often provided with a list of supplementary material and activities available. Yet, the graduates of such programs as English teacher training, they are often required to carry out course design tasks without having received sufficient training to do so. As a matter of fact, course design requires specialized expertise which can be gained through learning and practice. Designing courses is unlike preparing one's own teaching, as it should be understood by others who will use the design. Therefore, it is very urgent to equip the English teachers with the basic competence of the course design. In this respect, this presentation, it will help you a lot that how you might be able to design a syllabus according to the situation. The main purpose of this presentation is to examine critically the recent approaches and trends in syllabus design. First of all, we will go through three schools of thoughts for designing the syllabus, as Lancaster School, London School and Toronto School. They will be introduced to you. Then we will move towards the 10 steps in preparing a practical language teaching syllabus, and possible factors affecting the teachability of the syllabus design, they will be discussed as well. And types of syllabus are over here for your better understanding that how we may design the syllabus according to the situations. There are different types, and at the end we will discuss conclusion and implications of the syllabus design. Before we move towards the approaches of syllabus design, I would like to share some of the definitions related to the syllabus, that what it is according to some of other linguists, as a number of definitions have been proposed for the term syllabus by different scholars. Hutchinson and Waters, they define syllabus at its simplest level as a statement of what is to be learnt. Furthermore, Widdowson, he interprets a syllabus as a specification of a teaching program or pedagogical agenda which defines a particular subject for a particular group of learners. A syllabus specification then is concerned with both the selection and the ordering of what is to be taught. So simple, we may say that syllabus, it is the suggested content or the material which is suggested by the scholars for different levels, and as well as for the different particular groups of the learners. And so the different contents, they are specified, and it is selected both it is selected and it is ordered, and so what is better for the learners according to their own level of the learning. In the simplest way, you can interpret a syllabus that it is an expression of opinion on the nature of language and learning, and it acts as a guide for both teacher and learner by providing some goals to be attained. At its simplest level, a syllabus can be described as a statement of what is to be learned. It reflects of language and linguistic performance. And this is a rather traditional interpretation of syllabus, focusing as it does on outcomes rather than process. However, a syllabus can also be seen as a summary of the content to which learners will be exposed. One more definition, it is propounded by Brain. He defines syllabus as a plan of what is to be achieved through our teaching and our students' learning. So simply you can interpret it in this way that this shows that a syllabus, it is a plan of work drawn up for the purpose of teaching and learning a course. And during different periods, different approaches to teaching have been used. And different syllabus have been used for different approaches to language teaching, and the syllabus depends on the approaches to teaching. And underlying each approach to language teaching is a theory of the language, and the theory learning will determine the syllabus and methodological procedures of the approach. So how to design a syllabus, and there are many aspects, and they are specifically related to the language teaching methods, and they are closely related to the designing of syllabus. And now we will start discussing them one by one. And first one is the basic course information. So it means that what course is this which you are going to go through, and when and where does it meet, and how many credit hours does it offer, and whether you are going to take the classes face to face or online, or are there some prerequisites. And then what is the instructor information, I mean who is the instructor, and what is his departmental affiliation, where is his office, and whether you might be able to meet him, and what are your regular office hours, I mean how the students might be able to communicate with you on the phone or email, and what might be the preferences of the instructor. And then there comes the course goals. So it means that what will your students be able to do as a result of this course, I mean what might be the objective of this particular courses, and what is the purpose of this course, and its material serves, and what are their discipline specific objectives and larger metacognitive goals, or whether it offers the both. Then there comes the course materials and the requirements. It is related to the material like the books, readings, and other course materials, and which kind of the skills the students they will need to be successful. For example, which kind of the proficiencies they might be able to get skilled and apt. For example, they might be proficient with specific software. And then comes the course policies, and do you have policies regarding attendance or missed work, and are the particular classroom expectations that students need to be aware of, and what about the technology use. Then comes the grading and assessment, and how the task of the students they will be graded, and how the course grade determined, and what is the grading scale, and do you offer extra credits, such kind of the question they might be come under this heading of the grading and assessment. And then at the end there comes the course schedule and the calendar. I mean what will students be asked to do for particular class sessions, when will quizzes and examinations be given, and what are the due dates for the papers, projects, or other assessments, or whether they would have to go through the final exam, and if so then when. So such kind of the things they are quite important, which comes as a prerequisite for designing a syllabus. And now we will move towards some of the approaches which are very important in order to design a syllabus. Now we are going to discuss them further. So there are three important views in the scope of syllabus design. And in the scope of syllabus design, according to Stern, the first trend is presented by Candlin and Brain, which is called Lancaster School. It is argued that this school of thought has strongly reacted against the notion of a fixed syllabus which can be planned, preordained, and imposed on teachers and students. For this group, it is not a choice between structure and functional syllabus. The principle of any fixed inventory of language items, such as the Council of the Europe syllabus, is unacceptable to them. They regard the syllabus as open and negotiable. So we may say that this Lancaster School, it is of the view that the syllabus must not be restricted, preordained, planned, and imposed on the teachers and the learners, but they must have a choice so that they can modify the content according to their need, according to the level, according to the context. So they just wanted to follow the syllabus which is modifiable so that they can modify it according to their own needs. Contrary to the Lancaster School, Widdowson, belonging to the London School, believes that the syllabus is necessary, it is economical, and thus it is useful. Like Candlin and Brain, he also likes the idea of freedom for the teacher. Widdowson makes a distinction between syllabus and teaching methodology. He suggests that the syllabus should be structural, it is the methodology that can be communicative. And Bromfield's position is similar to Widdowson's idea. Bromfield argues that the curriculum is public statement serving all aids of practical purposes. His concern is not the question of freedom and constraint, which has been so dominant in the Lancaster group. He believes that the syllabus must be based on concepts of language, language learning, and language use. As far as Toronto School is concerned, Yalden's formulation is a bridge between the London School viewpoints and is called the Toronto School, which represented by Allen, and again like Bromfield, Yalden identifies the theoretical underpinnings of the syllabus content. Yalden proposes that the learner may have an input to make curriculum, but she is not preoccupied with the learner's role in syllabus development. For her, the syllabus is primarily a teacher's statement about objectives and content. And it is also mentioned that Toronto School, which is represented by Allen, it is not concerned with question of the learner's role in syllabus development. He accepts the need for a syllabus as unquestioned. The main issue for him is a question of constructing a theoretically sound and practically useful curriculum. Here are 10 steps in preparing a practical language teaching syllabus. Number 1 is determine to what extent possible what outcomes are desired for the students in the instructional program. It is exactly and realistically as possible we may define what the students should be able to do as a result of the instructions. And we may say that what learners are expected to know at the end of the course or the course objectives in operational terms. And second point is rank the syllabus type. So we may say that the types they might be presented here as to their likelihood of leading to the outcomes desired. And several rankings may be necessary if outcomes are complex. So it is about when it is to be taught and at what rate of the progress, and relating to the inventory of the items, to the different levels and stages, as well as to the time constraints of the course as well. And evaluate available resources in expertise. It is related for teaching needs analysis, materials choice in production, etc. in materials and in training for the teachers. So we may say that we have to focus that how it is to be taught in suggesting the procedures, techniques and materials as well. Point number 4 is rank the syllabi relative to available resources. So it means that we will have to determine what syllabus types would be the easiest to implement given available resources. Then point number 5 is compare the lists made under number 2s and 4. So we might have different lists, we might have different suggestions for syllabus types or syllabus designs, and making as few adjustments to the earlier list as possible, it may produce a new ranking based on the resources constraints. So we may compare our own suggestions or our own decisions with the other ones which we already have prepared for designing the syllabus. And then number 6, repeat the process. So we will have to take into account the constraints contributed by teacher and student factors described earlier. So these constraints, they will give us a chance to mold our own plan, and we might be able to integrate or replace some of the contents or some of the materials in our syllabus by keeping in mind all the constraints and discomforts as encountered by the teacher or the learners. Point number 7 is determine a final ranking. So we will have to take into account all the information which have been produced by the earlier steps, because we have decided many things. We have just decided the content and the topics and the material and supplements, and now we will have to determine that how we finally rank them, how we can give them a special place in your own category, whether which kind of the materials you want to teach in the early stages, and which other materials you would like to teach them after some explanations or towards the concluding part of the topic. And then there is number 8 point is designated 1 or 2 syllabus types as dominant and 1 or 2 as secondary. So it is suggested that we have to design 1 or 2 syllabus types, and we have to keep in mind this thing that we would have 2 choices in our mind, and then according to the situation we might be able to implement them, and out of 1 or 2 or 3 syllabus types we might be able to have the dominant one, and we can take one as the primary one and second one as the secondary one. And primary one we would take on our priority, we would follow that and we would be going to implement that, and the secondary one we will just take it at a choice. If we might be able to have other options, we might be able to integrate it in the previous one, then we might be able to choose this one as well. And point number 9 is review the question of combination or integration of syllabus type. So we will have to determine that how combination will be achieved and in what proportion. It depends totally upon the teacher whether she wants to combine some of the materials, some of the topics in the syllabus from the previous one, or whether she wants to integrate different types of the syllabus for teaching one course. So it depends upon the teacher that how does she feel comfortable and how the learners might be able to get benefited in a proper manner. And now the point number 10 is translate decisions into actual teaching units. So the many decisions that we might have taken till now in the ranking of the types of the syllabus and in the grading of the material or the content, that how we have to teach them and when we have to teach the students. So now this is the time that we have to finalize all the things, and now we have to implement them practically in the actual teaching units. So students, there are many possible factors affecting the teachability of the syllabus, and the most important, we may take the teachers as a course developers and their roles in syllabus design. So we can interpret if the teachers, they just develop their courses, then what might be the impact of the teachability on the syllabus design. So teachers factors affecting syllabus choice and design is over here. Second most important factor, that is students factors affecting syllabus choice and design. Students factors, it may be taken as the level of the students, their age factors, their aptitude, the levels at which they are getting learning, and then there is the combining and integrating syllabus types. So this teachability, it might be affected if the syllabus type it is integrated or combined. Then if the people, they are just going to use a practical guide to syllabus choice and design, then they would have the positive impacts on the teachability as well. So the first and most important factor, it is as teachers as a course developers and their roles in syllabus design. And this is the main question, that what is the role of the classroom teacher in syllabus design. And I would like to relate over here the statement which is given by Noonan. And he referred to Bell, and he said that who claims that teachers are consumers of other people's syllabuses and their role is to implement the plans of applied linguists, government agencies, while some teachers have a relatively free hand in designing their own syllabuses on which their teaching programs are based. So teachers, they do have the 2 choices in front of them. Sometimes they just follow the syllabuses which are suggested by other people, and sometimes it happens that they just design their own syllabus and then they implement in their own classes, and they do have the free hand and they are not restricted that they only have to follow the syllabus designs of the other people, but they may have a relatively free hand in designing their own syllabuses, and they can implement in their own teaching programs according to their own needs. And along with the more general program factors, teachers play a role in determining what the content of the language instruction will be. It might be borrowed from other people, it might be their own. And a truism of teaching is that the teachers tend to teach what they know. A teacher who is not familiar with the formal aspects of a language will not be likely to try to teach grammar lessons, but might, for example, focus on the social uses, that is like the functions of the language or how it is used in various situations. On the other hand, the science teachers with one student who does not speak the language of the classroom may go ahead science in the best way possible because he would have enough content instruction rather than try to give the student a special language lesson. So it totally depends upon one's comprehensibility. So teachers, he affects a lot as he affects the syllabus choice and the design, and it might impact the choice of the students according to their aptitude, according to their perceptions. The second most important point, that is how the students just affect the syllabus choice and the design. As it affects about students who also affect what instructional content can be used in an instructional program. The major concerns here are the goals of the students, their experience, their expectations and prior knowledge, their social and personality types, and the number of the students in a given class. Ideally, the goals the students themselves have for language study will match the goals of the program. When this is so, the question of the goals is easy to settle. Sometimes, however, programs and students have different goals. For example, one instructional program was designed to teach the English of the broadcasting profession at a vocational school, and the program administrators assumed that the students' language learning goals were tied to the professional training they were receiving. As the students, they had been learning the English language with respect to a program which was related to the broadcasting profession at the vocational school, and the program administrators, he assumed that the students they have the aptitude towards taking the professional training. But what happened that many students, however, they were more interested in attaining the general English proficiency to prepare them for even better positions than they were being trained for. So one way to meet both sets of the goals would be to increase the amount of the general, functional, situational and skill content provided along with the specialized skill and structural content that was being taught. So in this situation, the teachers or the organizers, they might take the integrated type of the syllabus so that the students, they would be able to have the functional skills as well as the general skills in this particular profession. So there are a distinction that exists between the combination and integration, although it is not absolute. Combination, it is the inclusion of one or more than one type of the syllabus with little attempt to relate the content types to each other. For example, a lesson on the function of disagreeing, that is related to the functional English, and it could be followed by one on listening for topic shifts, that is related to the skill, in which the function of disagreeing has no significant occurrence. Such combination frequently occurs in language teaching when various communicative or fluency activities like the skills of the task, which they are combined so that the students, they will learn them, they are added on to a structural, functional or situational syllabus. Little or no attempt is made to relate the content of the two types of the instruction. And how a practical guide to syllabus choice and design may impact the learning of the students and the teachability of the teachers. And it is clear that no single type of content is appropriate for all teaching settings, and the needs and conditions of each setting are so idiosyncratic that specific recommendations for combination are not possible. And in addition, the process of designing and implementing an actual syllabus, it warrants a separate volume. So it is understood that the students who are involved in different programs, in degree programs or as well as in the master programs, we may say that there is not only a single type of the content which might be appropriate for all teaching settings. So all the students, teaching or learning at the different levels. They have the different requirements, they have the different needs, and they have the various conditions, they have different settings, and it is quite idiosyncratic, because some of the programs, they are totally based in inculcating the skills, and some others, they are only related to the functional or practical things. So this process of the designing and implementing an actual syllabus, it warrants a separate volume. So it is quite necessary that all the students learning at the different levels, learning the specific programs, going through the specific courses, they must have the practical guide to the syllabus choice and design, and the authorities, they must make it sure that they do have a practical guide to the syllabus choice for the better comprehensibility and better inculcation of the skills and tasks. So it's a very important question how to design a syllabus. The choice of a syllabus is a major decision in language teaching, and it should be made as consciously and with as much information as possible. According to Cranke, there are 6 types of language teaching syllabus, including structural syllabus, notional or functional syllabus, situational syllabus, skill-based syllabus, content-based syllabus, and task-based syllabus. So as we have been discussing that how to design a syllabus, and now we will move towards different types of approaches to foreign language syllabus design. So first approach, it is a structural syllabus. So what is a structural syllabus? It is a kind of syllabus in which the content of language teaching, it is a collection of the forms and structures, usually grammatical elements such as verbs, nouns, past tense, and so on. So in this type of the syllabus, the teachers, they do focus on the grammatical elements in order to teach the foreign language to the students. Second one, that is the notional or the functional syllabus. It is the one in which the content of the language, it is a collection of the functions that are to be performed when language is used, or of the notions that language is used to express. For example, how to inform others, or like informing, agreeing, apologizing, requesting, promising, and so on. So it ignores the structural elements, it just focuses on the skills and how we have to use the language in the practical environment, how we have to inform others, how we have to agree or disagree with other people, how do we have to apologize, how we have to request and promise, and many other functions. They are the focus of this notional or the functional syllabus. Then there is a situational syllabus. It is one in which the content of the language teaching is a collection of real or imaginary situations in which language occurs or is used. For example, seeing the dentist, asking directions in a new town, buying a book in a bookshop. So different kind of the situations, they are given to the students, and now they have to go through the situation. They just they are provided with the expressions or the vocabulary items that they may use in such kind of the situations. So it helps them that how they have to use this language in a practical situation. Then there comes a skill-based syllabus. So it is a kind of the syllabus in which the content of the language teaching is a collection of specific abilities that may play a part in using the language. So we have to inculcate some skills in the students, and this is the main point that we have to focus in this while we have to choose a syllabus for the students, that they do have to collect some specific abilities so that they may play their part in using the language. Then there comes a content-based syllabus. It is not really a language teaching syllabus at all, and in the content-based language teaching, the primary purpose of the instruction, it is to teach some content or the information using the language that the students are also learning. And the students, they are simultaneously language students and students of whatever content is being taught. The subject matter is primary and language learning occurs incidentally to the content learning. An example of content-based language teaching is a science class taught in the language the students need or want to learn. And the last one, it is a task-based syllabus, and it is the one in which the content of the teaching is a series of the complex and purposeful tasks that the students want or need to perform with the language they are learning. Task-based approaches syllabi. It creates a favorable condition and it facilitates language development. It focuses on the ability to perform a task or activity and not on the explicit teaching of the grammatical rules have been the focus of concern among language researchers in syllabus, and historically this task-based approaches to language teachings, it started in the early 70s and it developed throughout the 70s. Noonan agrees with Bell and argues that few teachers are in the position of being able to design their own syllabuses. Again, Noonan, he reported later that some teachers believe that syllabus development should be carried out by people with specific expertise, but I believe that classroom teachers should be given appropriate training to be equipped with necessary skills and information to design their own syllabuses if they are to be successful teachers. And meanwhile, they should regard the syllabus open and negotiable. Indeed, the syllabus should be negotiated by teachers and their students on the basis of the learner's need analysis. The purpose of this presentation is to present the key and central issues and options available for syllabus design in order to provide English teachers with the necessary knowledge and skills and familiarize them with this information necessary for syllabus design. Finally, it is hoped that the issues and views discussed in this presentation provide important theoretical and practical rationale for syllabus designers and material developers in ESP, TESOL and TEFL, and also provide pedagogic implications which may be of particular relevance to teaching ESP. The more we emphasize flexibility and negotiation of the syllabus, the more important it is for us as teachers to have something to negotiate about. And surely, as Bromfield, Widdowson and Jalden have stressed, it is important for the teacher to define the parameters to provide direction and to have the resources at our disposal which make up ESL or EFL as learnable and worthwhile subject matter in general education.